keep it in the backlog because, that is what backlog is for. The resolution field will tell you what was the outcome of the issue, but don't really have a backlog which is like too big. You can't really have a process for everything. Hello everyone. So today let us talk about issues for future consideration. Now, my clients often ask me, Ravi, we have a lot of items in our backlog and some of these items are for future, right? We want to work on these items, but we are not really sure when. At the same time, we don't really want to put them on hold because on hold is saying that we want to do these items, but these are on hold for some reason, which is of course not in our control. But we know for sure that some of these activities, some of these stories, some of these tasks, we will probably do in the next 6 months or maybe 1 year or maybe 2 months, but not really sure when. So this could be a bit tricky in Jira because you might think that, okay, let's just put them on hold, or maybe we can just keep it in the backlog because, that is what backlog is for. And that is also, another good topic for discussion, how long you should keep an item in the backlog, right? We'll talk about it. So today, just let us focus on this question of future consideration, how to handle these cases. Now, what I think you can do, and again, based on my experience, based on what I think works quite well, you should just close those issues. And it may sound a bit harsh or it may sound wrong, but it is not. Now, the thing is that in Jira, when you close an issue, it doesn't really mean that you have worked on it, right? Or you have delivered it. Closed status in Jira means that there is no further activity that will happen on that particular issue. And that is what the closed state is for. And of course, you have the resolution field in Jira. The resolution field will tell you what was the outcome of the issue. So if the status is closed and the resolution is done, then it means you worked on it. It was delivered. If the status is closed and the resolution is rejected, then it means it was rejected. And similarly, for future consideration, you can have a resolution called future consideration. It could be a resolution in your Jira instance that, of course, you can use in the workflow. The thing is, there is, of course, some training involved. People usually get confused when it comes to the closure in Jira. They think when the issue is resolved, then that is it. Now, the thing is that you may resolve a bug, but it doesn't really mean that the bug was indeed fixed. It can come back, right? And we'll talk about how to handle these bugs or issues that you may want to open again, right? That is a separate topic. But in this video, I thought I'll probably talk about these cases where you know for sure that these items will or might be handled in future, but not right now. You can of course keep it in the backlog. I think backlog should not be used for those items that you want to do in 2 years or maybe 1 year, right? That is a bit too much. I think backlog should only have items that you have in sight, maybe your next quarter, maybe your current PI, right? Something like that. But don't really have a backlog which is like too big. You should not have like 500 stories in your backlog. I mean, you can have it, but Jira won't really do anything for you. But it is not really ideal, right? Try to keep things simple and within your site. If you know for sure that you're not really going to do these items in this sprint or in this PI or maybe in this year, just try to get rid of it, like from your focus, right? Of course, it could be, I'm talking about a sprint because your sprint will give you a focused view of what you are working. Your backlog will give you a focused view of what you and your team will be doing in the next few months, right? That is it. And for those cases where you have to work on these items and you're not really sure whether you will actually be working on it, just close it and close it with a resolution called future consideration. And good thing about Jira is that even if you close it, it is not really gone, right? It is still there in Jira, you can always find those old issues or tasks, and you may want to reopen it. You may want to just keep it closed and then open a new one, depending upon whether you actually did any work on it. I think when you have started some work on, let us say, your issues, your stories or bugs, then it can be actually slightly more confusing, because when you have started the work, then either you deliver it or you don't deliver it, or you put it on hold, or you move it to future consideration, right? In those cases, I think looking at your issues after 6 months or 1 year and looking at the status called closed and resolution as future consideration, it may not be super obvious what work was done 6 months ago. And to be honest, it is not always necessary. Try to open a new one, a new issue, a new story after 6 months, after 1 year, because I think in IT in general, I think 6 months is a long time, right? A lot of things change in 6 months. People go, managers go, we have different team members joining, we have different priorities, your stakeholders want to do something different after 6 months. So there is no point in keeping your Jira backlog or your project messed up with so many open items. Try to, of course, use Jira to have a view of what you want to do, what you are doing, and what you might be doing in the next few months. But for something like 1 year down the line, it is, to be honest, a bit too much. Maybe, I think what you can also do is maybe don't even enter those things in Jira. Maybe keep it in a separate document. Usually when people start using these items, or when someone is actually creating a new issue in Jira, it is basically at that point of time where you want to do some development, right? People don't really use Jira, or it is a bit difficult to use Jira for like requirement gathering or brainstorming. You can do that, but having those initiatives in Jira, or having those goals or capabilities in Jira as an issue type work really well, especially when you want to visualize the hierarchy. But the actual discussion, the actual brainstorming, the discussion around whether you should be doing it or not, that is not straightforward. You can't really have a process for everything. It is not really possible to just create a workflow in Jira for your initiatives, right? Because your initiatives are something that are beyond your standard processes. It is basically up to your managers, not even managers, but your stakeholders, your leadership team to decide what they want to do, where they want to take the company in the next 6 months or 1 year or 2 years. So have a process, but for things that are in your control, not really for each and everything. And especially in these cases where you are not really sure when you will be doing it, close it. You may, of course, have people, usually, I mean, I've seen this a lot, usually in like big companies, even in small companies, to be honest, items will enter Jira from like there is always some funnel, right? And it could be your account managers raising those issues. They want to get some features developed or enhancements developed. It could be your sales. It could be someone who is interacting with your customers, and it is like a wish list that yes, I want to have this feature. I want to do these and other things in my product. But not each and everything will be selected for the actual delivery, for the actual development. Your customers might also be raising those issues, right? For example, Atlassian also has its own Jira, right, where people will raise a request, or they will raise bugs or enhancements, but Atlassian can say no, we don't really want to do it, or we may do it in future, right? So these things happen, and I think that is a good thing about Jira. You can always say that yes, we are closing this issue, but we may reopen it. We may or may not do it in future. You can actually use the resolution or some kind of a field. I think using any other field will actually create more confusion. People say that, okay, we can use a label to say that, okay, we are closing it, but it's for future, or we are keeping it open, but we just add a label. I think when you close something in Jira, then your numbers will look good if you are interested in those numbers. Because imagine you have 100 issues entering Jira every month, but you're only closing 20 or 10, then it may not look good. It is always better to just close those issues. Whether you actually delivered it or not is a separate thing, but it will also keep things neat and tidy. So yeah, that is all I wanted to talk about in this video. I hope you enjoyed watching this video and you learned something new today. Thank you very much.